Hey Fidelity Fortune Hunters, welcome to our continuing series on Active Trader Pro. We try to talk about how you can navigate this platform, what some of the indicators are that we like to use, and how we apply them to our charts, where we see the trends changing, and how you can track that on your own and add technical analysis to your ammo bag as you're trying to improve your equity curve and keep yourselves out of trouble as well with measured risk and unlimited reward. So let's take a look at this in this particular video, how we're going to accelerate our moving averages. We're going to use shorter time frames as our input values, and I want to show you how that's helped my trading over the last month and a half. So without further ado, hold on to your hat. We'll get started right after this. Okay, for those of you who may have stumbled into our video channel, fxfortunehunter.com and youtube.com/user/vineyardfx. If this is your first time with us, there are plenty of other videos both on Fidelity Active Trader Pro and also on the Forex markets. I use MetaTrader all the time, and that's really what I focus on in my ongoing trading activity. But we've tried our best to add some of the indicators that we use in Forex to Fidelity and let people know how effective they can be in at least keeping you out of trouble, if not making you some pretty good money and options, and also just managing your self-directed IRA. So here is the particular chart that we have on the wall today. It's of Nvidia. Earnings are coming up later this afternoon after the close. We're recording this on the 26th of May in 2021. And you can see here the multiple moving averages that we have put on our chart. These are what I call bands of moving averages, multiple moving averages. And bottom line is we started with a 12 EMA, which is the yellow up here. And anytime you want to go into any one of these indicators and change it, all you have to do is click on it, and then you can either modify or delete or add another indicator. So for example, in this one, if we wanted to modify, we can see the color is green, and in this particular case, it's our 20 EMA, which is just before the 24. So we don't want to modify that right now. Bottom line is we also have this little fast moving indicator here, and you can see that this is an 8 moving average that we added to the chart, so that we ended up with actually 5 in our bands. And as these twist, you can see that the change dramatically, that the trend dramatically changes direction. We also added in this particular case this particular moving average, and it is a 47 EMA, which you can also add to your chart just to see for sure. You can see that it's in this general area that the trend is changing hands and moving about. You don't need it there, but it's helpful to me as an extra visual aid. In addition to that, I love the RSI, and I have bands between the 45 and the 55 here. And you can see here when we can't break through, this is when we're getting toppy in this area and coming back. And it isn't until we break through the 55 that we're off to the races. So it's in these areas where you can expect some consolidation, and depending upon your time frame, that can mean a lot. So notice here also we have a 195-minute chart cooking for us today. That's the equivalent of 2 candlesticks per session, and that's 195 times 2. There are a number of other opportunities. If you want to shorten it up for day trading, for sure you can. And let's take a look up here in the settings area, not the settings area here. This gives you things like extended hours and the colors and your candlesticks and so forth. But next door to that, what we want is this diskette, and that will show us some of the things that we've saved from our previous templates. And in this case, this is the 195 MMA. and it is our default template. We have also created a 39 and a 78. Now you can change that down here without difficulty by simply entering your new number of minutes into this area and applying them. If you don't want the standard default chart candlestick durations. Okay, now we've changed to a daily chart, which is pretty easy to use here. And you can see that Nvidia took off like a scalded dog in April of this year. It's backed off a little bit, but it's come recently and had an enormous breakout over the last 2 to 3 weeks. And we've seen some real rush of volatility into the earnings announcement that is later this afternoon after the close. So let's go back now to our 195-minute chart, because I want to show you again how we can see a slightly shorter time frame. And that brings us to this particular history viewer, and you can click on this button here to hide it or expose it. And then if you grab this and see the double-edged arrow, you can get rid of a number of candles and bring this back just to see back into the February time frame. You can see here would be January of this year, and this is quite helpful. Now in this particular case, I wanted to show you that we have created a different setting pair, and I have been using in my Forex trading, especially because of the volatility that we've experienced this year. I've been working more with a 6 and 12 EMA as my crossovers. I can put an 18 in to support it, but bottom line is, let's go to our settings here, and we'll go to what I call 195 hot MMA, and you'll see now that this is just the 12 EMA, which is now red, and a bluish green for the 6. And basically you can see here, even on an almost daily chart, this 2 candle per session chart, notice that if you don't come down and take out the 12 or close below it, you're just riding the wave all the way up. The same thing is true on the way down. Here was an earnings announcement, and then it crashed, came back, as we know it can, up into what we used to know as our bands. We had a fall over here, this what I call the switcheroo. Let me make this even shorter so you can see it more clearly. Come back over here to this area here. The switcheroo, up one time and then down the next, and so, or up one time and down the next. Those kinds of switcheroos, I call them, are quite helpful in determining whether you're going to have a continuation of that downward cycle here. And bottom line is, if we did not take out or close above the 12 EMA, we're still good to go. The same thing would be true here on the upside. We didn't quite do a switcheroo entirely around the 6 EMA, but we did have a close down at it, and then the low here took out the 6 EMA but stopped short of the 12. It recovered, and that's also quite a bullish sign. If you have a lower low and then a reversal that takes out the previous candle, that's a very bullish and positive kind of indicator. So what we were looking at here with Nvidia, by the way, I'll close this down so that we can have a little more space on our chart. I'll bring this. I noticed this prior to the earnings announcement. Even though the earnings were coming, I did notice with Nvidia that we have, let's kind of move this over so we can see what's going on. I did notice, and this, as I said, is that last 2 or 3 days worth of activity. It's now Wednesday of this week. We really started with a nice push last Friday. But bottom line also, just in terms of traditional kinds of technical analysis, how about just a simple trend line here? And this is the area that I could show you. We don't want linear regression. I'm sorry I goofed on that for you. We're going to remove it. I want to find a trend line and not an indicator. Sorry about that. So here is my trend line. That's linear regression. Hold on. There it is. Here, trend line, double dots. Okay, sorry about that. Now we can come to from this level and notice over here that we had a top, and you could pull this up a bit like this to match this top of that one. And then what we can do is get in here and we can extend it right, and we can apply. And notice what happened here. We had fall off from this horizontal trend line, this declining trend line, and we had kind of a good base of operations down in this area here as the base of our triangle down in this level. And notice it was at the highs that were created here. We pulled back to this level, and then when we took out this line, we actually went like a scalded dog to the north. So this is a very helpful approach if you're doing even weekly options trading, because what you can in fact also do is come down here and change the time frame, as I mentioned in this area. We could make it 78 by plugging 78 in here, or what we could do is we can come back to our settings and we could say 78 hot MMA. Now it will take away our trend line, but we can easily put that back in. Here it is right here. Here's our trend line from this point down here, and here is where we were, right through this neck of the woods, okay, right here. We're going to lift this up a bit, and bottom line is, once we had this takeout of the horizontal line and also this area here of support down in this area, that's when we had our move nicely up and to the north. Notice it is confirmed by our RSI. Okay guys, take a look at that 6 and 12 EMA, see if it helps with your charting capabilities, and see you next time. Keep us posted if you have additional questions in the comments area below, and good luck with your trading.